Coping with Tre Tailor, giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life. Because we'll always be coping with something. Coping. Hey there, happy day. You're watching Coping. I'm Tre Tailor, and we're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life because we will always be coping with something. Today, more of our series, Coping With Me in 2023. We're talking about being Black in America. Attorney Tyler Baily joins us. The attorney will share his perspective on being Black, a Black male in 2023. Hey, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. We look forward to talking to you coming up next. But first, hey, check the scroll at the bottom of the screen for resources concerning COVID, vaccines, testing, also financial resources, including jobs, housing, and help with your bills. Also, information on scholarships and several community events. You are watching Coping, hosted by me, Tre Tailor. We are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Please like, share, and follow us on Coping with Tre Tailor or Coping hosted by Tre Tailor so we can get the message to the masses. It's our series, Coping With Me in 2023. We're focusing on being Black in America. Attorney Tyler Baily joins us from Baily Law Firm. It serves the entire state of South Carolina in personal injury, criminal defense, and victims' rights litigation. He ran last year, a couple of years ago now, I guess, for Columbia City Council at large to serve the people of Columbia, South Carolina, and help the city, he says, reach its full potential. Tyler, thank you again so much for joining us today for this conversation.
No, thank you.
So listen, talking about being Black in America in 2023, do you think, as a former candidate for a city council position, do you think City of Columbia needed a young African-American male perspective?
I think the city definitely needed a young African-American male perspective. I think they still need a young African-American male perspective. You know, everybody brings their entire life background, how they were raised, how they view the world in whatever role they're in. If they're serving in government, they bring that with them as well. And I think the city needs that. And, you know, African-Americans and African-American men and young people play a crucial role in the success of our city. So I think having somebody of that demographic, I did meet the demographic, but I lost by slim margin, would have been helpful for the city.
What do you think's not being addressed, or what do you think's not being focused on from a young Black male perspective?
So I think this current city council is doing a great job. You know, they have an agenda. They're trying to move the city forward. They're trying to bring business here, improve the beautification of the city, address some things for people who are experiencing chronic homelessness, and also make sure our neighbors are safe. But, you know, from a Black male perspective, it's just impossible to address it the way that we or I or anybody who's Black, male, young would probably address the issues. I think it gives a lot of credibility to city council if there's somebody who can resonate on a personal level with the people whose lives they're trying to improve. So I think that male perspective, young Black male perspective, could help the city. I'm not saying I don't believe there's anything that they are not doing by any malicious or ill will. It's just sometimes we view things differently. It's like my dad, who has a real keen eye. There's a Starbucks, I'm not going to name which one. The sign has been broken on it since it's open. It drives my dad crazy. Most people may drive through that driveway, the drive-through, and not see it. For example, when I'm riding in North Columbia and I see, you know, young Black, you know, men on the street with no jobs, no opportunities, just hanging out, all right, it irks me. I think that we could be doing more to serve that demographic. So other people may just ride by and see people outside, right? I see, you know, this is somebody's brother, this is somebody's son who would more than likely like to devote his time doing something else, but maybe those opportunities just aren't there.
Well, I have to ask you, because you said that, what do you think could help our young brothers who, as you say, are
Well, you know, one, I think the common perspective of young brothers a lot of times is what you just said and what I referenced, you know, hanging out, no jobs, no opportunities, but that is not who we are. You know, there's young brothers doing great things who are going to college, who are leaders in their communities, who are professionals, who are lawyers and doctors who are doing fantastic things. But I'm
Mhm.
also concerned about those who do not have the same opportunities and exposure. So I think we have to meet people where they are. So you got a lot of young kids who, they're listening to the music that's hot today, they listen to the rap songs, they see the videos on YouTube, they're seeing the nice car, the nice clothes, and they want success. They want to feel that like the person on that video. So I think it's teaching them that there's ways they can do that without turning to the streets. You don't have to be a rapper. You don't have to go to the NBA. You don't have to go to the NFL. You could be an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. You could start now at a young age. You could start making money now legally. You could sell stuff online. You could start a business. You could sell sneakers. Learning how to start businesses, understanding, how to manage your money. I think we could target them by giving them exposure to what they need to be successful.
Yeah, attorney Tyler Baily is with Baily Law Firm. He serves the entire state of South Carolina. He joins us today for our conversation, Being Black in America in 2023. So, Tyler, will you run again for something, whether it be Columbia City Council or something else?
Well, service of Columbia, my community, is something I'm passionate about. I believe that God has on my heart for a reason. When the opportunity presents itself, I will strongly consider running. And what I'll do is I'll let you know first. You'll be one of the first people I'll let
Thank
know
you.
if and when I decide to run.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So you're in your 30s.
I am.
You're in your 30s.
Early
You're
30s.
married. You have two children. You seem like you have an ideal life, what some would think. What challenges are you facing as an African American male?
Well, I experienced challenge. When you said ideal life, I almost went back in my chair.
Well, but because you know what? I'm saying that because people from the outside looking in would say that you've got a beautiful wife, you've got kids, you've got a successful job. And from the outside looking in, people will think, oh, there's nothing wrong. He's fine. So that's why I wanted to know, what challenges are you facing?
Well, there's a
And
lot of yeah, there's a lot of challenges that I personally have. In my role and my age and who I am, I look at it as I'm building while I'm climbing, while I'm serving, while I'm protecting and providing. Right. So I'm trying to build, establish myself for my family. I'm trying to protect, my wife, my kids, make sure they're protected, and I'm providing for them. I'm climbing up personally, whether that's building my firm and practice and elevating my own professional goals, but I'm also serving where I'm putting time in away from all those things, away from my family, away
yeah,
from my business to make sure I'm serving the community. So it's a lot. And if it was for the grace of God, I would not be able to do it. A lot of times I believe when I focus on everything I have to do, it can become overwhelming, but I got to realize, take a step back and believe that, look, I'm here in this space with these abilities for a reason. And it's not all based off of who I am. I'm not just some amazing, fantastic lawyer. God put me in this position.
yeah,
Hopefully y'all mind me saying on the show. And if I just do what I need to do, he's going to give me the grace to do it. But it's a lot. Sometimes I can feel like, wow, I got all the stuff that sounds so great. It comes with a lot of responsibility,
yeah.
who too much is given, much is required. And so there is a lot. And I'm real passionate about service, which is something that some of my colleagues who just practice law, they don't serve in any capacity. They think
Mhm.
about me doing something like jumping on this show from 12 to 1 instead of, working on a file. It's just outrageous. But I believe that people, especially African Americans who are fortunate to be in these positions, we need to take our time to speak to others, to serve, not just to focus on ourselves professionally and making money.
Yeah, I love that you really mentioned spirituality. Obviously, God is a big part of your life. You've mentioned it several times. You come from a strong spiritual family. Your dad is a very prominent pastor, not only here in South Carolina, but throughout the United States. Tell me what spirituality means to you as you navigate through life as a young Black male.
Well, I believe that we're all here for a reason, right? We're not just, think about it. There will never be another one of us. We are
Mhm.
so unique to all the way down to our DNA and our genetic makeup. And so we're not only are we unique, we're in place in time, right? This specific time that we're here, which is really like a blink of an eye or a snap of a finger in the
Yeah.
grand scheme of life. And so what spirituality, what God and my life means is that I want to fulfill my purpose. And I believe my purpose is not just to make money. My purpose is not just to be a lawyer. My purpose is to further and make our community better. I want, when everything's said and done, that people could say, because Tyler was here, this is better. And at the end of the day, I think that's all that's going to matter is what we do for each other and how we help each other as a community. Because 150 years from now, nobody's going to be thinking, oh, that person had a nice car, or he had a
Yeah.
nice suit on, or he, he made a lot of money. But what will I think has eternal, lasting significance is what we do for each other, how we've helped our neighbors, how we make somebody else's life better by living our own.
Attorney Tyler Baily joins us. We're talking about being Black in 2023. I'm Tre Tailor. You're watching Coping, hosted by Tre Tailor. We're giving you info and advice to help you thrive and survive in life, because we'll always be coping with something. Hey, don't forget to check the scroll at the bottom of the screen. Hundreds of resources for jobs, health, community information on COVID vaccines, and so much more. So please post and share so we can get the message to the masses. So Tyler, being an attorney, you deal with lots of people from various backgrounds. What is your experience, or what do you see as some of your clients' experience about being African American, Black, if you will, in 2023?
Well, it's funny that you asked that. I'm currently representing a young Black girl. She's 15 years old. She was a student at River Bluff High School, and she is very conscious. She's conscious of the inequities throughout society, and specifically,
she's woke, as they say.
She's woke. She's woke. She's definitely conscious of, especially in the Black community, some of the injustices that we face. And she was really inspired by the racial awakening of 2020. Right, she was inspired by Colin Kaepernick, and she has stated that she does not, she protests or chooses not to recite the Pledge of Allegiance to draw attention to those inequities. So she was recently attacked at school for doing so, physically assaulted, and she's her family and her they've hired me to bring a case for them, a civil rights case. And one thing I say about being Black in America through the lens of this case is a lot of times when things happen to us, nobody pays attention until we have to make a ruckus.
Right.
And, this family, they did everything they should have. They reached out to the school district. They try to get some sort of accountability. There's never an apology stated. They almost act as if it didn't happen. And so she came to my office, and we brought a case, and it's getting a lot of attention now. But unfortunately, a lot of times as African Americans, we have historically been on the short end of the stick when it comes down to justice and equality. And it's nothing that we need to sit on our hands about. And this is 2023. There's laws that are written in place, but if we're not vocal, if we don't push issues, things won't stay the same. And sometimes you have to ruffle feathers to make some change. And so the time is up as far as Black people to always just feel like, this is our lot. We can do something. We can make change, whether you're protesting, whether you're writing a letter to a public official. There's things that need to be done. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And we can't just sit quietly while injustices happen all around us.
We often hear in the news a lot about African Americans, male and female, but maybe particularly males, with policing issues. What are your feelings about that?
Well, the issue with policing, and we need police. I love police. I like police in my neighborhood. I like my neighborhood safe. I have friends who are police officers. I support police officers. A lot of times the issue with policing really comes down to what is just generational entrenched bias against African American men. There's studies that show that you can have an African American child, right, and a white child doing the exact same thing, but because of biases, whether it's TV, whether it's music, whether it's what your grandma told you, what your mother told you, that they immediately view them as violent. They view them as angry. Somebody else of another race could say the same thing, but the response sometimes for law enforcement is exaggerated because of their own personal biases that they're walking around. And bias isn't segregated to police officers. They're just come with us in their other roles. You see a lot of times with African-American women in childbirth, right? Sometimes doctors aren't listening to them. They think they're exaggerating, or they believe that we have a higher pain tolerance. Those same type of biases exist in different fields. And so unfortunately, a lot of times with policing, what I see is that one, African Americans don't get the same benefit of doubt. We're automatically viewed, unfortunately, by the police as being aggressive. And that sometimes results in, false arrests, excessive force. A regular traffic stop should not result in a tussling match and then a high-speed chase of somebody running. We have to stop that. And what we need to do, we got to check our hearts. and there needs to be some deep screening of officers before they're sworn and they get the badge, so that we know that those biases are being addressed and they're not playing out on every day in our streets.
We're talking about being Black in 2023. Attorney Tyler Baily joins us. Two more questions before we go, Tyler. I have to ask you, do you think sometimes as African Americans, we are our own worst enemies?
I think we are all African Americans, Caucasians, Asians. We can all be our worst enemies. So, yeah, and the way sometimes we're our worst enemies, a lot of times we're harder on ourselves, right? Sometimes we're very distrustful of each other. Sometimes, in our community, we hear, I've heard ignorant people, unfortunately, say, "Oh, I don't go to Black businesses," as a Black person, right?
Yeah.
Or we're harder on our business than we are on
Absolutely.
majority businesses. So sometimes we can be our worst enemies by not supporting each other. That's one thing I see a lot of times, and the distrust that we have for each other as well. And this interview is not long enough for us to go back to the dynamics of why this is ingrained from slavery, pitting us against each other, and us feeling like there's not enough out there for all of us. The tokenism where if this person gets this means that there's not going to be any left for me. So we have a lot of stuff to work through as a community, as a people. We can sometimes be our worst enemies, but we don't have to be.
Yeah. Final question, Tyler. What do you think, in a nutshell, needs to change, and do you think it will change?
That's a broad question. What in a nutshell needs to change? If we're talking about African American men, right? I'm just going to say one thing that's on my heart right now is that a lot of times African American men, we don't talk about what we're going through. We have a lot that's on our plates. I say sometimes we go out into the world and we're fighting against so much. We want to come home and not have to fight, right? Or we want to go to our safe places, whether that's our churches, our family members, and be safe. And time is up for us just to harboring everything in and not talking about it. If we do that, that can result in anger. That can result in aggressiveness. That can result in not having the passion for your lover, your spouse, whoever you're in a relationship with, to work through issues. So we got to work through our own issues. Let's talk about it. Don't be scared to get therapy. Don't be scared to call a friend and talk to a friend. We don't just need to talk to each other about, the game or what we're doing this weekend. How about when your brother asks you, look, how you doing? Don't be scared. And I do this all the time. Sometimes people say, "Hey, Tyler, how you doing?" I say, "Hey, do you really want to know?"
Right.
I'm not going to, if you tell me, "Oh, I'm busy," I'll just say I'm doing fine. Now, if you want to know, I may say, "Look, it's been a tough week. I had this going on. Or what do you think I should do about that?" Or here's how I'm feeling. Let's work through our emotions. Let's be there for each other and not harbor everything in.
Yeah, awesome. Tyler Baily serves the entire state of South Carolina in personal injury, criminal defense, and victims' rights litigation. He joins us today to talk about being Black in America in 2023. Tyler, thank you for your time. Thank you for your outlook and for your perspective, and for the work that you are continuing to do in our community. We appreciate you.
Thank you for the work that you do.
You have email Josephine at copingwithtreTailor.com. Booking at copingwithtreTailor.com. If you have a product or service that could help someone cope, please email copingwithtreTailor@gmail.com. We would love for you to be a proud sponsor, just like SCDHEC, In It Together SC, the Fifth Circuit Solicitor's Office, Attorney Byron Gibson, the Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall, Palmetto Media Connections, Javis Financial Services, the Comet Bus System, the South Carolina State Museum, and Agape Counseling and Training Services. Coming up next, more coping. We are going to hook you up with a devotional. That's next on Coping. I'm Tre Tailor.
Computers, they're a part of our everyday life. But when they're not working, they're an everyday problem. So call Computers Unique, your everyday solution. 803-351-5821. Is your computer running slow? Won't turn on? Do you need a screen replaced? Or maybe you just need another computer? Well, Computers Unique is your one-stop shop for all your computer needs. They have a wide variety of new and pre-owned PCs, Macs, and tablets. So call Computers Unique, Dutch Square Mall. 803-351-5821. 803-351-5821.
Hi, I'm Tre Tailor. We'll always be coping with something, but God is always with us. Today's devotion says, when something in your life or thoughts make you anxious, come to me and talk to me. Thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity to trust you more. That's what we should say. Though the lessons of trust that I send you come wrapped with difficulties, the benefits far outweigh the cost. Well developed trust will bring you many blessings, not the least of which is my peace. I have promised to keep you in perfect peace to the extent that you trust in me. The world has it backwards, teaching that peace is the result of having enough money, possessions, insurance, security systems. But my peace, God says, is such an all-encompassing gift that it's independent of all circumstances. Though you lose everything else, if you gain my peace, you are rich indeed. That's your devotional for today.
Coping, find peace of mind to survive through whatever. Coping, learning the way that we thrive all together. Coping, finding out what's real. Coping, we can heal, we can heal, we can heal. Coping with stress, coping with strife, bringing hope for success, for improving our life. Coping beyond hoping to do more than survive, ways to live a healthy life. Coping and promoting, learning what you can do, 6 ways to a better you. Coping, find peace of mind to survive